fam.news.
He's a member of one of the oldest textile families in Italy, now living in the U.S. since 1995. This company has a history dating back to 1582. Today, Piana Technology is still a family-owned business, but it's one that's evolved from textile manufacturer to technology company, and one that's committed to sustainability and innovation. Andrea Piana, the CEO, is here, and the Fam Podcast starts right now. Hey, are you a mattress retailer looking to supercharge your business? Introducing Podium, your secret weapon. I use it, I'm a huge fan of it, and with Podium's AI-powered lead conversion, you can engage with customers in seconds via text, making it feel like they're talking to a friend. But hey, that's just the beginning. Podium offers texting, payments, reviews, website chat, and more, all in one place. You've got to be the most responsive retailer to help customers solve those sleep problems in the moment. Harness the power of Podium today and start growing your business. Visit podium.com right now to learn more.
Welcome to the Fam Podcast with Mark Kinsley. This is where the best in the bedding business get even better.
Hey fam, welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Mark Kinsley, and today's show is 442 years in the making. Does that sound about right, Mr. Piana?
Hey, Mark. Yes, thank you very much for having me today. It's an honor. It's a pleasure. It is absolutely correct. It's a long journey.
I was doing a little research on what was happening in 1582 in Italy, and about 50 years in advance of your family starting its textile business in Biella, which had all that rich water that was flowing off the Alps that allowed you to really run the business. Water is so critical to the textile manufacturing business. Around that time, so 50 years in advance, Machiavelli had written The Prince.
Yes.
And then it was in the middle of the Reformation, and there was a lot of Spanish influence. Do you have any stories about the origin of this family business? Is there any captured history?
I mean, you got to put in perspective, as you stated correctly. Fundamentally, textile was a way of living. So really support close community. And so the origin of this family in Biella is really about the quality of the water, as you stated correctly, because it's a very soft water. The quality of the animal that we had to shear, and really, utilizing animal hair. And at the beginning, it was really a function of, okay, how am I going to make clothes to support my family? How am I going to make clothes to support a small community? And then from there, of course, with technology, with visions, with resiliency and traditions, luck, because that requires a lot of luck. Eventually, we expand them more to a regional level, then to a national level, to an international level. But everything starts really from I would say, the obligations of supporting your family. And believe it or not, the family itself is being a major asset throughout the course of the centuries. Because, an organization that is structured, but acts like a family, it becomes eventually unstoppable, because it's a pure force of commitment, pure force of love. And I think it's a powerful entity. So
that really speaks to me. I mean, I started this whole business, the Fam started as a podcast, and I named it the Fam because we talk about our businesses and our industries and our communities like, oh, it's one big family. And if we really mean that, you operate differently. You do things different. You make decisions based on legacy and love. And that changes the dynamic of an organization. You see, you found that it has created, like you said, this unstoppable force. Talk more about that.
It is definitely an unstoppable force. I mean, being fortunate enough to being exposed to individuals in my family who they led by imaginations, by creativity, by passions, by joy, and with a clarity on the purpose. It's always been clear to me that if you wake up in the morning without being joyful about what you do, there is something significantly wrong, and you should change what you're doing. So the first step of any individual and any organizations has to be the definition of the purpose in your life. So I've been fortunate to have this teaching. I call it passionate indoctrinations from great grandparents to grandparents, definitely to parents, that's for sure. So and family is everything. Family is everything because it's passionate. This chaotic, unstoppable power, because you would do anything for your family, anything. And so if you can create that intensity on how you approach life on a daily basis, like if you're a family and the individual next to you depends upon your performance and your commitment, that's something that is magical.
What are some stories about great-grandparents, grandparents, your parents, some of the stories you remember that stand out? Maybe wild stories, maybe somebody was a character in your family as they were operating the business throughout the years. Tell us a story.
I think I think everybody's a character, to be honest. We come from fundamentally from the mountains of Italy. So fairly cold area. Now it's definitely warmer with climate change. And I think the stories is about approaching life, yes, with great commitment, with great determination, but also with a touch of sarcasm, a touch of irony. There is a moment in your life that you have to be, at least what they taught me, that you have to recognize that every day you have to improve. Every day you have to give just a little bit more. But at the end of the day, if you have done everything that is in your power, then you can control the reactions of any externalities. You can. Otherwise, it becomes ego. And so, independently by the challenges or the difficulties that we may face, I can describe many episodes where I was just scratching my head. I was sad, I was destroyed, and I would call my father. And my father would be capable really to read my postures, my sadness, and would switch completely the conversation to a more philosophical, to a more loving, to a more sarcastic, funny conversation, because that's what was needed. So in spite of the tragic circumstances, what we perceive to be tragic, there is always a smile that would change completely the narrative of the conversations. So I think that's an important lessons that both my grandfather, actually my father, have taught me, and my mother too. Independently by what I felt, there was always a place that it was warm, a place of love, and a place of smiling. So being sarcastic, don't take yourself excessively too seriously. It's not helpful. Otherwise, you enter into a spiral of negativity, which does not help you to grow.
You've been in the United States since 1995, living in the Atlanta area since 1995. And when we previously spoke, you said coming to the United States and living here has been one of the greatest gifts to you. Tell us why. What makes it such a great gift for you?
So, the United States, I believe, is the greatest country in the world, period. It's not based on nepotism. It's absolutely based on meritocracy. There is a recognition to ideas, to your commitment to hard work. It's a country of law, and you breathe the capability that the impossible is possible. It's tangible, is on your skin, and that's a gift. And the gift is that I think United States is a function of you are responsible for your actions and you are going to be rewarded for that actions. That's where, humans, they withhold their power between any stimulus and the responses. In that gap, humans have absolute power. Doesn't matter what. But that decision that you make, positive or negative, I think United States is absolutely recognized. In other countries, not like that. So to me, that's a gift. And of course, United States gave me opportunity to implement my visions, and gave me the opportunity to have a wonderful family and to have wonderful friends. And so I love this country. Yes.
Talk about those opportunities and thank you for sharing that. I couldn't agree more. If you work very hard and you have a vision and you're innovative and you have people that follow you and agree with that vision and implement it, and heaven help us, act like a family along the way. Yeah. It is a country where anything can happen. And I hear you loud and clear. You say there are other places like that where you could work as hard as you wanted and it wouldn't matter because you're not part of the establishment, let's say.
Yeah. Yeah, that's correct.
Go back to what you're saying about this country giving you a chance to implement that vision and bring it to life. You've come on the scene recently, and especially in the mattress category, making some noise, as we say.
Correct.
What led to this moment, especially in relation to bringing a vision to life?
That's an interesting question. I think we talked before briefly now. By nature, we are a bit of troublemaker, a little bit of misfits. We believe that if you maintain a long-term view of anything that you do in your life, then you can define a roadmap toward what we believe beneficial changes for product and also for humanity. In terms of, when we say humanity, of course, we talk also about the specific environment. And so, specifically in the bedding industry, I think that's what you're referring, what we're referring to. We start to define, I think around the year 2000, that there was a great opportunity to create these, in general, products that would have great functionality, but would be based on the pillar of circular design. And we had this, we had this very clear long-term environmental ethics, because being from the mountains of Italy, I could see during the course of the decades, since my youth to around the age of 20, that the snow would actually be completely reduced. There was no snow anymore. So for me, that was very tangible, was very clear. And we have determined that in the bedding industry, it could be actually a beacon, a catalyst toward functionality and true circular design approach. So we decided that it was a great idea to enter into this market that is large, is going to be here forever, and be a bit of a catalyst toward a different mindset, or we can approach this market. I don't know if it makes sense, my answers or not.
Yeah, it does. Tell people specifically what was that initial product? What are you making for the mattress industry?
Well, we've been working in the textile industry since 1995. So we moved over here supporting the traditional textile market, which was apparel and denim mostly. We would dye cotton, we would dye synthetic material, we would send it to spinning mill, and then eventually we go mostly in the apparel market. Then in the year 2000, of course, China entered into the WTO. And so our business within 6 months decreased by 95%. So it was a really interesting shock. And I was fortunate enough to have leader. I don't mean this specific case was my father that allowed me to pursue my visions of innovation and sustainability. And so I was fortunate enough, I surrounded myself with great researchers, and we ended up identify specific technology that were patentable. And we were fairly successful. Then from there, we started to expand into different type of textile processes until 2 years ago that we started to think about, hold on one second, we gather enough information because we supply currently already the bedding industry. We see a void, we see an overall aggregate demand of disappointed individuals who they would be willing to purchase a bed from anybody. It doesn't matter what is the brand. And then we started to realize that approximately 55,000 beds per day they're thrown in the landfill. So it's an ecological bankruptcy. And actually, if we some basic calculations or mind game that we always play, we have determined that if we stack all the beds that we throw every single day into the landfill, it's actually 30% higher than the height of Mount Everest every single day. And so for us, it was really, okay, so we know functionality. We are an innovations powerhouse of sustainable technology because that's our purpose statement. Why we cannot join together a true circular design mattresses with specific functionalities that can support completely the environment and reduce the amount of CO2 emitted drastically and tangibly. That was the premise of how we're here today with Piana Technology.
And so you made the product.
We made the product.
It's here. It's available to people. They can buy it.
It's available. It can be bought, and so the product is is around 45% less CO2 than any standard mattresses. Is around 35% lighter, has 50% less energy consumptions. Is 10 times more air permeable than any other standard mattresses. Is no volatile organic compound. We actually we have developed this scent technology where we we print molecules on the substrate. We focus a lot on innovations, and we believe that scent technology is actually a way to activate receptors and really activate either neurotransmitter activities or improve really the quality of sleep. So it's a fairly sophisticated constructions of a mattresses. At the same time, it's very simple.
I think a lot of people that are listening to this that are manufacturers, or maybe they work in retail or they're merchandisers, I would ask on their behalf, with all of those things that you stated, from a lightness standpoint specifically, what materials are being used inside the mattress? Because if I understand it correctly, these are materials that are truly circular. They're sort of built for end of life so that you can recycle them, and we're not going to fill up landfills to the degree that we are today. So what materials are actually comprised in the mattress?
So the first mattresses we have launched is actually a recycled material, which is mostly a PET base with biofoam. Of course, this is the raw material that is utilized. However, we add a lot of functionality. So all our mattresses, they are antimicrobial, which is critical importance, specifically for the hospitality industry. We all know that within 4 or 5 years, you buy mattresses, the weight of the mattresses increases by 40 to 50%. It's mostly dead skin. You have dust mite, and you have bacteria. Not all of them beneficial. So, and then consequentially, these mattresses is built with a specific purpose. We just opened our own recycle facilities. So at the end of life, we're going to take these mattresses, we're going to open it, we're going to sanitize it through one of our textile manufacturing facility. Then we're going to convert it into a small mat, and we're going to donate that to disaster relief area or homeless housing, et cetera, et cetera. So there is a a scientific, a technological, and really a social integrity, social purpose to everything you do.
It seems like as I've watched the mattress industry evolve, the message about sustainability and the focus on sustainability has certainly taken more of a center stage. There's no doubt about that. However, getting consumers to pay for it is another story. And really, I would say the bigger disconnect is getting manufacturers to want to adopt the materials that are part of a circular economy, that are built for end of life, that have more of a true sustainability message that's defensible. Like all those things that the manufacturer could tap into, they don't want to pay for it for the most part. And sometimes when you find, some of the brands out there that are doing very well in this space are finding those very committed consumers, but it's a smaller base of people. What are you seeing in terms of trends with, manufacturers maybe not wanting to adopt certain technologies, or the bubbling up of a core consumer base that is passionate about sustainability and end of life? What's your observations there?
Well, that's a very important question. I mean, first and foremost, I would agree that if the constructions of a mattress is going to be the cause of a significantly higher price, then it could be a challenge. But that's not the fact. You can have great functionality with a great sustainable components, with a great sustainable manufacturing process. Like we are producing all our mattresses, and our building is 100% solar. And so, for conceptually, our objective is not to increase the prices for a specific product we're producing. Our objective is really to offer a great product with great technology at an acceptable price, or a price that is aligned with the specific segment that we have decided. Now, in terms of what you're stating, I do believe the bedding industry can be a transformational industry that could teach to many other markets how to have a moral and economical and a social approach to the construction of the mattresses. I mean, we're spending a third of our life on a bed. I mean, that's a matter of fact. We are, the mattress itself will have to offer a different utility in the future. It's not going to be only mattresses. It has to change drastically. It has to offer to us a higher quality of sleep, improving our immune system, cell regenerations, has to be completely transform the life of an individual. And, I think as a consumer, we have to remain well informed. From the sustainability perspective, we see what has been happening right now with the two hurricanes in Florida and Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, et cetera, et cetera. Nobody will be able to deny that there is an absolute correlation between a higher surface temperature of the ocean and a higher kinetic energy power of a hurricane. You cannot deny that. It's not a function of policy, it's a function of science. This is a whole anthropogenetic factors that are caused by humans. So these are factual information. Now, what you do with those information, that's a different story. But the bedding industry can be a leader. So that's a great opportunity.
It absolutely is a great opportunity. And, really what you're talking about in sort of this strange connected way is what you first mentioned in 1582. It's taking care of your families. And as we look at taking care of our families into the future, it moves beyond being at the base of the mountain or up in the mountains and using that good, clean water to make textiles. Now we do have a more global view and a global responsibility because we know what's happening in the world. We know what the landfills look like. We know what's happening with weather patterns, and what can we do to make incremental change in a more positive direction. I think it sounds like that's what Piana is setting out to do.
Yeah. we don't have a ego. We're not eager to be a leader in any form and size in the bed industry. Our purpose is really to be a catalyst. We did not start this Piana Sleep for the purpose of pursuing profit. We started this specific journey for the purpose of making difference in the health of the people, in the health of the planet. That's really what we wanted to become, nothing else. So hopefully our vision, actually, confident the vision is correct. Hopefully the execution was as impeccable as it could, and hopefully we can interact with people like you or the summit like you do. It's quite remarkable because you need the community to make changes. We are social human beings, so we have to be able to offer support to each other. There is no other way around, independently by your belief, independently by what you stand for. There's a great opportunity if we stand together all the time. We can't live out of fears, no? Because dangers, tragedy, they're going to come. Fear, they're going to paralyze humanity. So we really have to be able to lead with creativity, with passion, with imaginations, with having a long-term ethical view. So, and we can do better than any other time before because we have great science and we have great technology. So
it's all at our fingertips. It's a matter of, like you said, working together, singing from the same hymn sheet so that choir of voices is the loudest. And I think that's really important, because if we just sit back and we only pursue profit, we've sort of seen where that leads. We really have to infuse this industry with purpose, with responsibility, and really understanding where the world is moving. And go there first, be that catalyst, be that change. And I admire you. I admire you and your company for what you're doing. I think it's meaningful.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hey, how can people get connected with you, Andrea, and with Piana Sleep?
Well, they just need to go on the site of Piana Sleep and we will connect with them. With great pleasure. Even interacting is going to be very beneficial. We're open to any type of conversations. We're open to learn from anybody, and it would be great. It'd be an honor.
Well, thank you for coming on the FAM podcast and sharing a little bit of your story. I mean, a company that's been family owned since 1582, 442 years. In the United States, we're still such a young nation. Something with that level of legacy is really hard to imagine. I even when I travel to Europe and I touch certain objects, you can feel the history that's there. So to be able to speak to somebody that truly the family has proven its commitment to what you're doing century after century is incredibly impressive. I'm so thankful and grateful for our time here today. Any final words? What did I miss? What did I not ask?
No, I think you've asked very, very important questions, and actually the fact itself, you ask important questions is what we should ask to ourselves every single day. I think that as a human being, if we learn how to love ourselves first, if we love how to eliminate all the noises in our life and we focus about what is absolutely essential, then eventually we develop a high level of integrity and we know how to love everybody around us and how to serve the community. So I think your question would be impeccable. So the only things I can do is to thank you for your time, and I truly appreciate it.
I know what I didn't ask.
Okay,
I do have one more.
Sure. Please.
You can't dodge this question either. I want a specific, vivid, real answer, and it can be multi-layered. What do you do for fun?
I truly enjoy life, first and foremost. I truly enjoy it. I mean, I wake up in the morning and I'm joyful, but I love to spend time with my kids. I love to train hard. Um, I've joined.
Train hard. What do you mean? Like weightlifting, CrossFit, running,
I mean,
cycling?
everything. I started to join a group that 4 or 5 years ago was called Unbeatable Mind, and it was created by a former Navy SEALs commander. And so every single day we train online with ex Navy SEALs or people that are truly committed to grow. And I'm a bit sore because I used to be a pretty decent athlete when I was young, but unfortunately been having several surgeries. That's part of life. And I love skiing. I love skiing.
Snow skiing.
Yeah, I love snow skiing. Yeah, I love snow skiing.
You started but when you were young.
I started at 3 years old. Yes. Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, it's a great way for me to see the world, to spend time with my friends, to make fun of each other, and to truly enjoy nature. I think nature tells us the truth. Nature doesn't lie, and the truth is important because it comes from your heart. So that's what I feel.
what do you mean by that? Nature tells us the truth.
Well, we can manipulate anything from if we utilize just our state of consciousness. I mean, our mind. But if we're capable to walk outside, if we're capable to stand in silence in the mountains, in the park, hiking, I perceive that your heart is open, and then you're in full connections with your surrounding. There's no manipulation. There is not an intentional manipulations. And so for me, that's freedom, and for me, that's the truth. And that's what I feel.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. It reminds me of my Uncle Charles. He was a war veteran, lifelong smoker, alcoholic. And I went to visit him in they called it the nursing home, and he was dying. And we were talking about higher power. We were talking about God. We were talking about the universe and nature. And he said he didn't spend a lot of time in church because he spent time with God in nature, is how he described it to me. Okay. And I think there's some similarities there to what you're saying. And I couldn't agree more. I bathe in the forest, let's say. Not literally, but it's the Japanese art of forest bathing, where it's like you're talking about, you listen to the silence, that therefore you're listening to what is real, what is not manipulated. And
I'm sorry about your uncle, of course. Sorry. Yeah.
Thank you. No, this is many years ago, but I never forgot him saying that. Just this idea that you can experience things in very different ways than maybe what the rest of the world experiences it. And I can see from talking to you, you have your own way of navigating the world. And if anybody's watching on YouTube, you can see the joy in your face. And we're all jealous of your hair, by the way.
But my son tells me they're becoming more and more white, so that's okay.
More and more wisdom.
Let's say that.
Andrea Piana, CEO of Piana Sleep and Piana Technology, thank you so much for being on the show with us today. I can't wait to meet you in person at some point soon. Thank you for what you're doing in the industry. It's going to inspire all of us. I hope you join us back here on the show at some point in the future and talk about more innovation that's happening within your walls.
Oh, please. Thank you. Thank you, Mark, for everything. Really, really appreciate it. Very wonderful conversation.
I enjoyed it. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, be sure to give us a thumbs up, give us a like, give us a heart, and share this with a friend. We'll see you back here next Monday, every Monday, on the FAM Podcast.